Hey everybody, I'm David Newland.
And I'm Jory Nash.
And I am a singer-songwriter, writer, one-time co-founder of Roots Music Canada, and a student of Canadian Studies. Jory, you are also a singer-songwriter, and you are a former artistic director of Shelter Valley Folk Festival, and the co-founder and the longtime artistic director and programmer of The Way We Feel.
Yes, we Angus Finnan and I co-founded it in 2002, and the first year we did it was 2003. We kind of were doing it by the seat of our pants. We wanted to celebrate Gordon in some way, and there was plans for a CD already happening. That was our first idea,
Yep.
But we didn't have the money or the connections or the wherewithal. So we said, what about a live concert? And it just so happened that Hugh's Room in Toronto was opening up, and they were very magnanimous and gave us the second weekend in January to do it. And then the Ottawa Folk Festival heard about it and asked us to come. And so we ended up having 3 nights. And we had a host for one night in Ottawa. We had a host for one night in Toronto, one of the CBC producers, I think. And you were brought on because you had written a poem.
That's right. I came on board as a spoken word artist.
And did the first night in Toronto. And then the second night we needed a host. And your spoken word piece went over so well that Angus said, we should just get David to host the second night in Toronto. And you did, and you never relinquished.
No, I never.
You were like,
he
was Lou Gehrig, Wally Pippin. For you baseball fans. But yeah, you hosted every single night.
Yeah.
Till we finished till the last one in 2019. You and me and Jason Fowler are the three people on every single show.
So for 15 years, we had the honor and the privilege of paying tribute to Gordon Lightfoot's living legacy. And we're obviously reflecting here today because Gord is now passed. Something, frankly, we were terrified was going to happen while we were on stage the first year. He was in a bad way then. We are so fortunate to have had him all these years. But what I think we feel most grateful for, and I want everybody to know this. Everybody knows Gordon Lightfoot was a great songwriter, a famous performer, the master of Massey Hall and all of that stuff. What I don't think everybody knows is that Gordon Lightfoot took the time every year to come to this show that was being made by Canadian roots performers. And the cream of the crop, for sure. But not the folks like Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley and Anne Murray who had recorded his songs. These were working folk singers from the Canadian scene. The gift that he gave by showing up, joining us on stage, complimenting artists on our work. Can you speak to that, Jory?
Yeah, he everything that you just said, he did, and he did it repeatedly. He took the time to speak individually to every artist, take them aside, say thank you for doing it. Each year, in and out, whether he came and played his own songs or just joined us in the finale, which he did depending on how he was feeling that day. Sometimes he came 2 or 3 of the shows. One time we did 4 shows and he came 3 nights. And every time he, without fail, was gracious, kindly, and complimentary to all of the artists, not just for doing his music, but just for doing music and being a part of something. And I think in the later years, he actually really felt like he was one of the artists in the show, part of the show.
Absolutely.
He would actually, say to us, are we doing it again next year? He'd call me, and he would make sure that his tour dates wouldn't start until the Way We Feel dates were done. And one time Tom Wilson actually did a different show. It was a celebration of Sundown, the record Sundown, the 40th anniversary, down at the WestJet stage on the water in Toronto. It was a beautiful thing. When Gord called me up and says, Tom Wilson, I don't know him. He wants to do this. He seems like a... But can we get some people from our show in Nash? Can we get some people
I love
from
that he
our
called
show?
it our show.
Yes.
It was so much a part of, I think, Gord's second legacy, if you will. The songwriting and the hit songs and all of that, those don't need to be talked about. But I think Gord never left his roots. He never gave up his Canadian citizenship. He always lived north of the border. And I think he recognized that we were trying to do the same thing that they did back in the 60s at the riverboat and all that stuff. We were just trying to get the music out there in an earnest way. I think he recognized that. And he also recognized that as the kind of eminence grise of the scene, that he could give something back. And he did. He gave it to every single one of us. So, you know, I'm really feeling for Kim and for Meredith, for all Gord's kids and everybody who loved him and knew him. You know, our friends, the good brothers, yeah. I know are really reeling today, and Barney Bentall and many others we shared the stage with. Good Lovelies, Dalla, all the great folks and all the great folks in our band, and you know, Rachel Barreca helped us out backstage so many times. Peter McDonald and our buddy Angus. Yep. Everybody's feeling it, but I personally feel as much gratitude as grief, because Gord just kept on giving, and he gave something to all of us, and I think everybody in Canada feels that he gave something to them too.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's been a sad day, but it's also been a heartwarming day to see so many well-intentioned and heartfelt tributes to not just the music. Every, as you say, everybody knows the breadth of music. That's never been in question.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people are now learning how giving he was in his later years. This is somebody who would go to Mariposa Folk Festival in recent years and play for free.
Yeah.
And do things and celebrate his hometown, celebrate artists. I know many artists in our show would give him copies of our CDs.
Absolutely.
And he would listen and then take notes. He called me afterwards. He made whole notes about the record.
Yeah.
And he was an artist's artist. And I think that the humility was there to the end and distinctly Canadian. And your point about him not leaving he wrote about Canada, but he never left Canada.
Yeah.
Canada never, and I think the tributes that we're seeing and all the accolades and everything we're seeing today is that, you know, Canada never left him.
And you know what I love is that not only, I mean, as long as we play the songs right, he'll be remembered, and it's a given that, you know, we could sit here for 2 hours and never repeat ourselves. We could just keep playing Gordon Lightfoot songs. But the thing I love is that it's not just the artists on our scene who came through that show, or even just those who were influenced by Gord keeping playing his songs. It's the fact that every artist he touched, whether through the way we feel or otherwise, just his general mentorship and presence, everything he gave to them continues in their work and music as well. And
yeah, I mean,
it's a legacy.
We don't know many of them very well, but he's a loyal person. He was loyal to his band members. Like, he is, you know, Rick Haynes has been his bass player since 1969 or so. He's just very loyal, and
Bernie Fiedler,
and all these people, you know, all these people who helped shape his career, but at the same time, Gord never forgets, you know, and he really, there's just an honor to him that the more we got to know him, the more it shone. We were lucky.
We were all lucky, and I think everybody out there in Roots Music Canada land was lucky, and in the country at large. Roots Music Canada, incidentally, was founded on Gordon Lightfoot's birthday. It started as a Twitter feed. And, of course, the mascot, Gordy the Moose. Not too hard to guess where he got that name. But, folks, if you're out there, I hope you are, as we are, celebrating and giving thanks as much as you're grieving. It's a sad moment, but it's also a moment to reflect on an unbelievable artistic and human legacy.
Absolutely. Thank you.